Let's see, P38575. And wait, here's another one, P3C774. Okay, one more parameter than proceeding the vector calculations, P3X1279. And those numbers are driving me insane. Okay, let's see if that will finally unlock the true power of my Control 1 unit. Shalva. Still incorrect. I already checked those gate address matrix lists, every single page. Maybe some star constellation issues. Not that I'm aware of. I could try to recalculate, but no, I'm sure that these are the secret parameters I need. Maybe I should follow a whole different approach, but which one? If only Dr. Daniel Jackson was here to give me some hints, but these lazy hackers on holidays, darn it. Oh, it's your friend. Excuse my frustrations, but I'm facing a serious challenge here. You can guess the daily Systemlord crap. Who has the longest staff weapon? Who has the greatest and most badass flagship? And who has the biggest ego in our daily Microsoft Teams meetings? Just look, me and my Systemlord buddies are planning this intergalactic EDM festival on Abydos, but my remote cousin Baal is constantly intercepting our DMX lighting rig shippings because he can't stand techno for whatever reason. Screw you, Baal, one day I'm gonna blow up your entire ship. Anyway, with the full power of the Control 1, there would be no need for any lighting rig because I would be the lighting rig. But at the current software stage, it is not powerful enough for me yet. I want more. That's why I'm searching through all of these antique literature, coordinate lists, and star maps, yet so far with no success. I need to find a way to unlock the magic number, but I have no clue where to look else. Maybe here, Oh, hold on, wait. Interesting. Seems like Dr. Jackson and my SoundSwitch SG1 pulse have prepared something for me. What do you think? Should we give it a try? Come on, let's do it. Okay, serious talk now. You are certainly aware that SoundSwitch 2.9 was released a few weeks ago already, so why did I wait? After all, EngineDJ and SoundSwitch are separate parts I could review. Well, yes and no. Only the desktop versions are separate entities, but they share a unified software part when it comes to standalone performing. And looking even closer, this is actually the correct way to regard the whole situation. Because Engine Desktop and EngineDJ OS are two different, let's call them containers to prepare and perform your gigs, while SoundSwitch and Engine Lighting are interlocked much closer in terms of functionality. Using your EngineDJ Numark device, you still benefit directly from new performance features brought into SoundSwitch, but only if the engine lighting part is also updated. So, while we got SoundSwitch 2.9 a few weeks ago, its full potential couldn't get utilized because the engine lighting part wasn't unlocked yet. Until now. To tame your enthusiasm, Engine 4.1 is not a major deal by itself, though it brings some nifty new features to all EngineDJ units, while also improving the preparation part further. And remember, 4.0 was a pretty big deal, as we covered in my last review. This time it's actually SoundSwitch which can now fully flex its muscles, since the engine lighting part also has been updated, benefiting from nearly all SoundSwitch updates. Of course, all changes made to the scripting preparation part also enhance your options when using DMX lights, so this turns into an even bigger story, a much bigger story. Let's start with the EngineDJ stuff first. You see this little Anker Bluetooth box here in my hand? Well, most Engine all-in-one devices can now also route the master output signal to said speakers. It's easily accessible via the quick menu and works fine, leaving the usual audio latency aside. And that's the biggest caveat you should keep in mind. It's not really meant for being used on a professional stage. On top of that, it's a bit ironic that my unsupported OG Prime 4 relies on a wide connection to the speakers, while my supported Live 4 already has integrated speakers, which sound better than most Bluetooth boxes, to be honest. I don't complain about a free bonus feature, but you should keep that in mind. Okay, number 2, Smart Headphone Q, a new and incredibly nifty pre-fader listening variant. We already had the option to toggle between standard and solo headphone Q mode. I use the second method myself. Smart Headphone Q goes a step further by following the target deck of your track loading. If you load a new track to deck 2, your headphone Q also switches to channel 2, and it does accordingly once you load something into a different deck. It's so straightforward that I wonder why nobody had this idea earlier. It saves time, it reduces button wear, it's good stuff, I happily take this one. So yeah, that's mostly it. Next to sleep mode for the Prime Go, some bug fixes, improvements, and macOS Sequoia support. Well, not bad so far, but to give you perspective, these here were the major new features for the EngineDJ part. Got it? Splendid. Now have a look at this. 2 filled DNAT4 pages with wonderful upgrades concerning my engine lighting and my beloved SoundSwitch. Let's take a deep dive into that. Starting with the basic stuff, SoundSwitch Desktop gets some new status indicators for your source, BPM and connected DMAX interface. As someone who loves to see bigger UI changes, this is certainly a good start. Press the icon on the left to switch between your connected DJ software, Ableton Link, MIDI and the new BPM detection, something I will talk about later on. Something me and Daryl Bennett had been very vocal about, and that has thankfully improved dramatically, is the workflow for multi-cell fixture scripting. No matter the fact that we have different target groups and lighting rigs, we both are absolute freaks when it comes to complex, custom-programmed multi-cell chases, and this part of the update helps a lot in that regard. In my case, we are talking about 264 DMX channels just for my mask alone. And until now, scripting new Autoloops chases could be frustrating because the copy-paste clipboard was limited. But now watch how I select a script sequence part across multiple subpicture tracks and successfully place the whole chunk into a different section. Awesome. As listed here, it works flawlessly between all kind of tracks, grouped one and the main track included, and reduces the tedious process of manually copying line per line of script data, making this a perfect booster for, well, that other big feature I will talk about later on. Another major quality of life improvement is the greatly enhanced visual feedback status over your currently active Autoloop bank and slots, now represented on your laptop screen, the engine lighting UI and the control one. This is very helpful in my case with my Anubis mask limited vision. Hey, don't you dare to tell Baal about this fact, okay? Or I will have to curse you. Let's talk eat, sleep, wave, repeat. First of all, you can trigger Autoloops anytime now, even overriding scripted tracks. You can also long press your desired Autoloop bank, so only slots from that bank will auto-cycle. Finally, you get a choice between Autoloop Infinite Repeat, which repeats the same Autoloop until you manually select another slot, and track duration, cycling it until a new track is getting engaged. Yeah, that's cool, but I have one issue. The old behavior, which was kinda like a hybrid between infinite and track repeat, is missing now. It would be nice to see this option coming back. Ah yeah, let's not forget this one, live audio BPM detection. I had lots of fun testing it, with some chilled house and some complex breakbeat tracks. Since this feature already has been demonstrated in some other review videos, I want to save you precious time and sped up the recorded footage, where you can see the UV spot pulsing in the measured BPM. In short, yes, it's pretty accurate, another great reason to use Autoloops, and doesn't just work by using a laptop microphone, but any sound source of your desire, even virtual ones like demonstrated here. Since this feature is limited to SoundSwitch Desktop, you can't use it on EngineDJ without a laptop. This is something you have to keep in mind. Let's finish with the best and final feature, for me the biggest game changer when it comes to Autoloops, my Scar mask, and maybe even SoundSwitch in its entirety for many current and potential new users. Yes, the amount of directly accessible Autoloop slots has been quadrupled from 32 to 128. This is something I've been dreaming of ever since I constructed my Jackal helmet, turning the whole principle of Autoloops from a mere emergency solution to a fully fledged way of performing long sets, with a big amount of chase variations at your hands. Let me explain the principles first. Each SoundSwitch project acts like a container with few venue fixtures. And each venue features 4 banks of 8 Autoloop slots, giving you simultaneous access to 32 during your performance, which was decent but not that plenty. Real-time access to more slots simply wasn't possible. Things changed drastically as each bank now holds 32 slots, multiplying the venue slot capacity by 4 as well. This results in 128 different variations at your fingertips, allowing you to completely rethink your overall project structuring. If you prefer to treat your banks like venues, in my case for genres, you can now switch between them without any menu diving or restarting your show. You can also go completely freestyle and mix those slots after your liking, and with some clever planning ahead, and as long as you keep your fixtures identical, you could operate multiple venues during your set, increasing the amount of slots to crazy numbers like 256, 384 or even more. With such many slots directly accessible, I have even more reasons to experiment around with Autoloop chases. You will notice more and more new variations getting incorporated in my upcoming mixes, for even more diverse journeys. These new Autoloops on steroids are a wonderful feature, yet in my eyes just a part of an even larger picture, bringing up new questions about potential concepts when it comes to the future of SoundSwitch. You see, there are 3 major approaches of how you can define and polish your own preferred workflow of scripting your light show in SoundSwitch. There is no right or wrong, but you get several advantages and disadvantages to keep in mind, so let's get to them. First, manual scripting is ideal for preparing a specific playlist made before wedding peak time hour or your next epic festival gig on Abydos. It can give you the most precise, predictable and best looking results, and works very similar to a fire and forget weapon, allowing you to fully focus on your DJ performance. However, manual scripting requires tremendous work for complex sets of fixtures, and is also less suitable for large music libraries. This is where autoscripts come into play, since batch workflows are possible and SoundSwitch recognizes track phrasing, you can get solid results in a reasonable amount of time, allowing you to analyze large parts of your music library. Once again, it is strictly bound to your music tracks, and you have to trust the software, unless you're willing to manually post-edit large parts by yourself. Autoscripts do struggle with complex multi-cell fixtures, like my own Anubis mask. Hence, I don't use them myself. I believe that for most hybrid DJs, scripting Autoloops is the way to go. And I think devs have noticed that. Biggest advantage here is that you only have to script your desired chases once, since they work with all of your tracks and all external sources, like Ableton Link, as long as there's tempo information. And with the live auto BPM detection feature brought in 2.9, they became even more flexible. Autoloops are fun to use in general because they encourage you to interact with them directly, something where the Control 1 unit absolutely shines. The only real disadvantage so far was the limitation of 32 slots you could access at once. And exactly this flaw just turned into another plus point for Autoloops. With now 128 directly accessible slots, you get more than enough chase variations for your sets. The layout of the Control 1 and engine lighting still ensures straightforward access, and the improvements on the scripting side, like quickly copy-pasting and rearranging slots, make the preparation part also more convenient. With a well-prepared selection of Autoloops, you can really tackle any upcoming gig. Well, okay, with this comparison in mind, does it imply that the 3 different ways of scripting in SoundSwitch are competing against each other? Well, no, I don't think so. In fact, considering all recent updates, I see growing potential that these 3 ways of scripting workflows will complement each other. How could the next big step look like? Well, here's an idea, which I call hybrid scripting. An implementation which is spooking in my jackal head for quite some time. As a disclaimer, the following mockup is my own concept and nothing in terms of a leak or early access or whatever. I have sent several ideas and mockups to the developers, so all I'm doing now is sharing this idea with you as well. The principle of hybrid scripting combines the power of the enhanced Autoloops, the track phrasing feature, partial auto scripts, if you want, and final tweaks with your own manual inputs. Notice how I replaced the chase generator section on the left with the 4 Autoloop banks of your current venue. As an additional feature request, I also color-coded them, similar to the LEDs on the Control 1 and engine lighting. The toggle on the bottom right now adds a third option, H, in short for hybrid. I also added a much nicer looking EngineDJ waveform rendering, but as an alternative, you could also toggle that with the Autoloops getting shown in the traditional way, but with an overview waveform of your current tracks still visible. Hybrid scripting integrates your pre-programmed Autoloops into your manual scripting workflow, basically replacing the generic chase generators or complementing it. We know that this can work because they are all BPM bound, and your music tracks have the required beat grids for that. You simply select your desired track area, preferably across the phrase strip area like shown, and then you click on your desired Autoloop to fill all of your fixture track with the pre-existing data of your Autoloop. As long as the fixtures within your venue are the same for your Autoloops as for the tracks you want to script, it should work absolutely flawlessly. But even if they are not, SoundSwitch could simply ignore the removed or the added fixture tracks, while still filling the remaining ones with the script data of your desired Autoloop. For the A versus S formula, let me explain. If the selected area of your track section is longer than your Autoloop, then the script data just cycles again. And if it's too short, it gets cut off. It's simple as that. Remember, again, Autoloop scripts are just BPM bound, making them fit to any of your music tracks, even ones with flexible beat grids. As long as your grids are sitting tight, they will look just as good as your manual scripts did so far. And of course, you could still apply manual edits anytime, turning this, as my naming suggests, into the perfect hybrid scripting workflow, saving you a lot of time once you have built up a robust collection of Autoloops. I am pretty optimistic that we are eventually going to receive a major software update of this kind, allowing us to follow this or comparable principle. The question is not if, but when. Yes, friends, I can say that we found a secret formula, thanks to Dr. Daniel Jackson, the EngineDJ and SoundSwitch teams. Not only can I show Baal who's the lighting boss now, but any one of you who loves to DJ but hesitated so far to give DMX lighting a try as well gets the perfect opportunity now. Snatch a cheap micro DMX dongle, subscribe to SoundSwitch and start scripting your first Autoloops. They became really powerful now and might become even more so in near future. And seriously, believe me, hybrid mixing performing with your music and lights is just awesome. It really is. 4.1 plus 2.9 equals 7. The lucky number, and in fact both updates complement each other. The changes to the EngineDJ parts are rather modest this time, and Bluetooth audio output might be a bit gimmicky, but it's the logical step to maximize the use of the existing wireless chipsets. Smart Headphone Queue on the other hand is a clever and nifty feature, especially for hectic DJ sets and quick mixing, or guys like me who are constantly interacting with the Control 1 units. Some additional improvement and fixes like added slip mode for the Prime Go or the improved LED feedback for the Sweep FX on the Prime 4 Plus, next to other stuff, underline the attention for details, which I miss on certain other brands. But here's the ironic thing, 80% of this video was relevant for only those 20% of EngineDJ users who are also performing light shows. But that's exactly the catch. There couldn't be any better time to bring more people to SoundSwitch. Not only my Ska mask got a crazy power boost, but everyone benefits who prefers the workflow with Autoloops, which got seriously upgraded, turning them more and more into a fully fledged way of performing, rather than just regarding them as a kind of emergency solution, but they are certainly more than that. So invest some time, script them properly and make use of them. All in all, that was certainly more than I had expected from my X.1 and X.9 software release, but I can't complain. These dynamics are the strength of the InMusic teams. The stuff I'm doing, fully battery powered performing with my music and lights, anywhere I want, is what keeps me, and hopefully you, entertained, now and in future. check out my rooftop progressive mix, and have a great time while I better ensure that Baal doesn't pull out anything silly again. Anyway, we shall meet again.